Hi, I'm Patrick,
And I'm Liv.
and this is the Mach-E vlog, and we are driving hands-free using BlueCruise 1.3, which we just got last night via an over-the-air update. So we're going to check out all the details.
Let's go.
Before we get into the details of the new features, I just want to say, we are in the early access program. We have been waiting for it, just like everybody else, for months. Ford said it was going to come like the end of last summer, end of last year. That's been delayed, but we are in the early access program, and we just got it like last night, June 28th, I think it is.
Yeah.
So we went out just to make sure it did do the update last night. That's about it. So this is like our first drive testing out the new features, and we're super excited. Okay, we just got on I-15, and now we're going to test and see how lane changes work. My screen is now blue, has little arrows left and right indicating that I can do the lane change. That's part of the new feature. It says hands-free, of course. I'm going to hit the blinker and let it do its thing. I'm, of course, still checking. So I hit the blinker. I just tapped it. It did like the 3 blinks and it moved over. So it's working, doing well. Now I'm going to go completely hands-free. I had my hand on the steering wheel, even though I didn't need to. But the first time, you're trying something out, you want to make sure everything's working. And I'm slowly passing this guy. I'm going to slow down just slightly. So I just hit the stitch. Oh, we just scooched over for the truck. Did you see how it's it moved its over in the lane slightly? And I think the phone is catching this. Liv's filming this part.
Yeah, I think so. I'm really, really excited. It's been so long since we tried this.
Yeah, we got to test this out in Detroit. We got to test out 1.2 about a year ago. But I'm going back up, setting it back to the speed limit. And then we're still scooched over to the left because it sees this big truck. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the blinker. And it says preparing lane change. And it's doing more than 3. And it waited till we cleared the truck. And then started moving us over. And then now we're in this lane. I wanted to get in this lane so that we can see how does it handle off ramps and stuff. Because sometimes that throws off these type of systems. Very, very smooth, don't you think?
That was awesome.
Yeah, no hesitation. It stayed very smooth. Didn't sort of dart over there.
And there's actually a lot of lines in this highway.
Yeah. Some of the things that can confuse the cameras. I'm going to stay in this lane. We'll do another lane change in a second, but we're getting ready to have an on-ramp, and that's another one where it can sometimes confuse these type of systems. And here it comes. You can see the on-ramp sign right now. There's some skid marks looking stuff. We do have a dashed line, but then no line.
Wow.
We have different color pavement, so maybe that's helping. But super smooth, no wobbling or anything. Let me go ahead and do a lane change. I don't need to do one, but I'm going to tap. It says preparing lane change. And now we're in the other lane, and it's back to the regular screen. Very nice, very cool. We're going to keep going on this segment, but so far I like it. And what we'll do is we'll try to wait and see what happens when I can't do a lane change, but I turn on my blinker to see what it does. So
that makes me nervous to hear, but
yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, we did the rally and the GT up in Seattle, and we got to test it out a little bit. It's really nice to have it on our car, but one of the ones we tried to do a lane change, we started to do the lane change, and then somebody else went into the lane, and it canceled the lane change and just put me back in the lane that I was originally in. So that was really nice to see. I'm still waiting for somebody to catch up to us. Let me just do another lane change just because it's fun. Still haven't touched the steering wheel at all. Foot's off the accelerator, of course, but really nice and smooth. We were just in another car, I'll just go ahead and say Ioniq 5, and it seemed to take too long before it initiated the lane change, which in California, if you hesitate on the lane change, that just means somebody's going to try to fill in the gap and not let you in. So it was a little bit frustrating. Here's an off ramp, no swerving or anything.
Wow.
It's slowing down now for this car or the big RV in front of us. Tapped the blinker, we did the lane change, and it's speeding up.
And I wonder if it's going to scooch now.
And it scooched immediately.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
So immediately we got into the lane, and then it's like, yeah, we don't want to be close to that. I'm going to do this lane change now as the merge is coming to see how it handles that. Because like all of a sudden we had like a wide lane. Exactly how I would have handled that. Like, I mean, it feels more human now. I like it.
That was really awesome. And by the way, I have to say, so I'm in this unique situation where I'm not looking at the road because I'm trying to look at the camera. So sometimes when you're lane changing, I'm not even aware when the moving is happening. It's really, really smooth and there's nothing sudden.
And I put my blinker on now when I shouldn't be, because it's like, what am I going to do? I can't go over there now. And it's just leaving the blinker on like, hey, I'm trying to move over. Probably confusing the people behind me. And it said, not available, lane busy, and it just kept me in this lane. And I touched the steering wheel, but I didn't need to. I just heard the ding, and I was like, no, I need to touch the steering wheel. I did not need to. It just decided, no, we're going to turn the blinker off. So great way to handle that. And I'm passing everybody on the right. I shouldn't be, but we're trying to do a demo here. It's one of my pet peeves is people passing on the right. So now I'm going to try it again and see if it'll do it now. Yep.
Nice.
So there we go. Dead center in the lane. Super smooth. Like it isn't like trying to find the lane. It already knows where it's at. And now we're slowing down because we're just hitting traffic. So I think we got some traffic. Yep. Traffic coming up. So we probably won't do any lane changes now, but we'll get to see like how smooth it is in stop and go traffic. This is the one situation where I'm always extra alert. No matter what driver's assistance system we've used, whether it's from Audi or Hyundai or Tesla, just because I want to have my foot ready on the brake. The car tends to sometimes do, all of them a little bit heavy braking. Yep. And then somebody cutting us off like that. And I think the car would see it, but I don't know about you. I'm not going to wait. But I'm going to hit resume. And it didn't accelerate. It just realized. But yeah, the guy cutting us off like that.
That's why it's not eyes off.
Yeah. Again, the car should handle that. But it's like I could see it and I'm just going to hit the brake. I'm not going to rely on the system. Because even if it does see it, it's like I'm getting closer than I want. So unfortunate demo.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, this is nice and comfortable. We were doing 19, now 27, just sort of fluctuating with traffic. And I hate sitting in traffic, but I thought everybody might want to see this. So hopefully it's worthwhile. We don't necessarily need to go in this direction. Now he's leaving that lane, and the whole thing is yep, nice. We've seen some systems where the car exits the lane in front of you, and the car is like, yay, we can now go back up to speed. And you're like, no, there's another car there. It didn't really accelerate. It just sort of kept pace, and then saw that new car in front of us and is handling it nice and smoothly.
This feels really good.
It's interesting in trying to remember. We've been in a lot of cars lately.
Yeah, I was trying to remember because I think, wasn't it the Lexus that was actually quite good at this exact spot, but this is definitely better.
Yeah, Lexus, and it actually is hands-on except when you're doing the really slow stop and go.
Yeah.
Like it would say 40 miles an hour, you got to put your hands back on. So being hands-free this whole time is really good.
Still super disconcerting.
Yeah, it still is. I got my foot ready to hit the brake in case we have another situation like that. But I think for me, part of the true test in these situations is like, how smooth does it feel decelerating and then accelerating back up? And it feels good. It's not jerky. Some systems want to, like, as soon as it's sees everybody speeding up, it wants to like race, and I'm like, I know it's stop and go. We don't need to be that quick. And then sometimes, and BlueCruise is this way with 1.0, it seemed to take forever for it to get back up to speed, and it was just like an invitation for everybody to cut in front of us. And it just felt uncomfortably slow. So far, this is feeling better. And it may be my excitement. I'm not saying this is 100% different, but I'm excited by the lane changes and scooching over. We just scooched over again for that. And we'll see. It's sort of like, it's interesting seeing where it wants to scooch over and when we're going to scooch back. And he's still right there next to us. You guys can't see it, but I can glance over and see the truck's still right there.
And it's the same person from earlier, I think. I tried to capture them very poorly as they were zooming by.
Now we're going to slow back down.
My question is, what happens when it wants to scooch on both sides?
I think it'll just stay in the middle. People have asked that, and I'm like, I think it does the best that it can do.
It's been very comfortable feeling. So there you can see the trailer. It's kind of large.
Yeah, this is just feeling. We talked to one of the program managers about BlueCruise 1.3 when we were in Detroit last year. We got our sneak preview of it, and one of the things they mentioned is like trying to make it feel more human, and I think that's a huge distinguishing factor in all of these driver's assistance systems. Is it's very easy to say like, there's a car in front, slow down. There's make a lane change, but if it feels very digital, or we just lost our camera. Let's see if I can put that back on.
All right, hopefully that camera angle is good. It's so funny with so many mics hooked up and everything, but this is a really hard thing to capture, that we're trying really hard to give you the whole impression. So me as a passenger, by the way, I did want to share, this feels a lot more comfortable than when you're driving at full speed and then come to slowing traffic. Because as a human, we can see that traffic is slowed much further than the car can see it. And I don't know about you guys or you, Patrick, but I start slowing. When I see in the distance there's a lot of brake lights,
I think, and that, to me, that's the weak spot of all of these systems. And what I'm talking about, or what Liv's talking about, is like, when you're doing 70 miles an hour, the speed limit, and you can see up ahead, everybody's like, there's going to be brake lights. All of these systems sort of like, we're going to go 70 until it's time to brake.
Yeah.
But what we do as humans, and I want these systems to do, is to go, okay, they're starting to slow down, so I'm going to go ahead and slow down to 65 or maybe 60. I'm not going to really hit the brakes, but I'm going to coast a little bit, because I don't need to be like gas, brake.
Yeah, and that's how this is excelling. And when I reference that, by the way, I also mean when you're not using hands-free, when you're just on a regular road and you're coming to a stop. Cars are at a stoplight. So this seems to be excelling incredibly well at cruising like a human. Like, this feels really, really human, and it feels like that's a long following distance, and it's just being very natural and comfortable, and it's not, like you said, speeding up to catch up to the car. It's just cruising like a human. This feels like weirdly human.
Yeah, and actually in a good way, because even me, this is where I've never rear-ended anybody.
Knock on wood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so far. But it's like, this is where it's very easy to, not even be distracted, but you're so used to seeing like their brake lights that you're like, their brake lights are already always on, but then you're like, oh, they're actually coming to a stop. And then you hit that rough, like tap the brake a little bit too much, and it's a little bit jerky. So this has been very smooth so far, like speeding up and slowing down. And like I said, we've been in Hyundai and others lately, and I feel like they're a bit jerkier. This has been very smooth so far.
Also, the vehicle in front of us is shorter, so you can see the SUV ahead of them braking, and then the ripple effect of this vehicle braking. And I get that worry in my stomach of like, is this gonna brake, as I see the SUV in front braking, and this is doing really well, like sort of where I would start braking. right?
Yeah.
Like you saw the SUV.
Yep. And it's always interesting to me because, and I wish we could have enough cameras, because like I keep checking my rear view mirror, because that's the other thing is like if the driver's assistance system brakes harshly, I worry about the guy behind me or the person behind me rear-ending me, because they may not have a nice system. In fact, we we joked about like I like when there's like a Tesla or something behind me, because I'm assuming they're going to have autopilot on and won't let them hit me. Oh, now we have a merge, and the car's inserting himself in. And now I think the car, I mean, it's sort of like he sort of split the lane, and it's a bit interesting watching how that transpired. And also now we have a very wide lane, and it didn't deviate at all over to the right.
That was really, really smooth. You couldn't even tell that there was a merge.
Yeah, that's almost all the systems you can say, you know, a lot of them won't necessarily swing out really wide, but a lot of them will go like just scooch over slightly and take up that space. Now here's some like different pavement segments, lines slightly disappearing. This guy has his blinker on. I'm gonna speed up just to let him get over. Sometimes that we're riding with a friend in his Model S on roads similar to this, and every once in a while we get confused by the dividers in the concrete, or the different types of concrete or whatever, and would dart over one or the other.
That was
thinking
very
it's a lane.
unnerving.
Yeah, it was a bit unnerving, and he's like, I think it was just like the time of day and everything. And he's like, it never does this. I drive this all the time, but it scared me. All right, let's do another lane change. And I'm going to see. It did the lane change. I wanted to pick up speed a little bit faster, but actually it's like we're going with traffic, and now we're back up to the speed limit in this middle lane.
And it's quite trafficy. Like I'm watching brake lights up ahead. All right.
But pretty cool. I think we've covered a lot of the freeway stuff. There's some, the two big features that everybody's excited about. The lane changes working great, and it's scooching over. I'm gonna put my blinker on now and then see what it does here. Trying to get to the right. We passed the Tesla. Once we got clear enough past that, we moved into this lane. So yeah, lane changes working good. Scooching over is great. I'm really enjoying it so far. The other thing is that it'll slow down for sharper curves. I have the speed limit sign recognition turned off, just because we have a lot of varying speeds, and in California, like, people don't always adhere to that as much. So I might give that a test. But we're going to turn around. We're going to head back and maybe find some different roads that are hands-on to show you that part of the driver's assistance systems with BlueCruise 1.3. So even though BlueCruise hands-off won't work on this section of freeway or highway or whatever it is, this is State Route 76 in Oceanside, I can turn on intelligent cruise control with lane centering and let it do its thing here. I just have to keep my hands on. Now, of course, I can let it go for a few seconds, but we don't need to test that. My hand is just resting on it. It's torque based, so it's sort of it's not capacitive. I actually have to have a little bit of a grip. But this is something that it's always been able to do, but this is where it should be a little bit smoother and better, like going through the intersections. Previously, like going through an intersection like that, a lot of times it would cancel because it couldn't see the lines for just a second. So then it would cancel. But now it seems to be a bit smoother going through those, not canceling. I like that so much. The way this works is any road that's not a BlueCruise road, as long as it can detect lines, dash line or solid line, then it can see a lane, and then you can turn this on. It's not 100%. Sometimes it's like it'll detect the lanes, but won't let you turn it on. And then it didn't swerve over there. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the brake here. It would slow down to a stop, but sometimes like when it's just a complete stop like that, I didn't want to test it out right now. But yeah, we'll as soon as the light turns green, we'll hit resume and go through the intersection and see how it works again. Okay, we had to change our tactic for a second because there was a couple of fire trucks coming by. I didn't want to hit record or anything or mess around while fire trucks were around. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on and have it. Oh, I turned it off. Whoops. So it shows me like my 2-bar following distance, and then instead of going like completely blue and showing like BlueCruise, it's showing like the little bubble with the hands on. Oh. And I hit the brake because that guy started to swerve into my lane, which is, bringing back the point of you have to still be aware of, the car may be doing everything correctly, but something like that, you want to just be aware of what's around and what's happening and be prepared to take over no matter what mode you're in. So I hit resume, and now we're just going to sort of see it on this little bit of stretch of road with slow and go traffic. I'm letting it slow us down. So again, it has like just a circle around the car. It shows that there's a car ahead of me, and it tells me like hands on. So that's what I'm doing, whatever comfortable position for you. Just resting one hand is generally good enough. Making sure we're recording. But yeah, this is doing fine. We're going to go through another intersection. We'll see if it handles this. There's a lane that just went over that way. The line is a little bit faint on the right, but pretty visible. Let's see if we go through this intersection and how it does. Went over to the right. Oh, it canceled. But now we're going to move over into the other lane. That lane ended. And once it picks it up again, we'll see if it resumes. So now it's detecting the lanes, and then it just went back into where now it's doing the steering for me. So it took a little bit of a time to handle that. Yesterday, we actually drove this just to sort of make sure it was working before we put all the cameras in the car. And it went through that intersection, but I wasn't in that lane with no issues. Here's another one, not as big of an intersection. Went through that one fine. And now we have a little bit of a gap before we hit any of the next intersections. I think there's one right around this curve, but we're going through. It's handling this curve, not hugely sharp, but that's what you're going to get on this type of road. But this will handle, if we have time, we'll hit a 2-lane stretch as well, just to show you that it'll do like a 2-lane road even as well as it's handling this one. And if you're looking for avocados, there's 20 for $5 right there. We have stopped there a couple of times. Because BlueCruise doesn't cover a lot of roads, people will go what's the point of it? But the great thing is it does cover with hands-on a lot of other roads. So then you don't have to, you still get a lot of the functions of the intelligent cruise control. And I'm letting it control the speed. It's taking me all the way down to a stop here. And if you are at the front of the line and it's just a red light, you have to be the one that's going to brake. It's only slowing down because it sees a car in front of me come into a stop. And then once it comes to a stop, right now it would automatically resume. It just displayed the screen that says stopped. And then to resume, I just have to hit the resume button. So and we'll see like if it'll resume on its own. It usually displays, or it used to display a thing that said like hit the resume. Yep, it says press the X/resume button to resume. So now it's accelerating for us. This intersection is going to be sort of difficult, and I wouldn't be surprised if it cancels because it's like it curves in the middle of the intersection. But no, it's actually making the slight adjustment and curve and did not cancel going through that intersection. So that was pretty cool. That first one that it canceled, I'm like, it didn't seem like it should have had much issue, but whatever. That one I thought was more difficult. We're getting ready to have the lane end on the right. So the lane got really wide. The car didn't swerve out. It's basically tracking to this left dashed line and handling it pretty smooth. So we have one more intersection maybe that we'll go through, and then we'll move on to the next segment. But this is a road that's right outside our neighborhood, so we take this quite often. So again, letting it slow us down. It's a bit of a hard breaker right there, but we came around the corner and everything was coming to a stop, so can't really necessarily blame that on the car. But coming now smoothly to a stop. But yeah, we take this expressway a lot. A lot of times I really don't use intelligent cruise control on this type of road because it's not that long that we're on it. By the way, it's accelerating for us. I didn't have to hit anything. It's just getting back up to speed and keeping my distance. I can still set my following distance, of course. Right now I have it on 2 bars. I can hit the button and it'll tell me I'm on 2 bars. I can reduce it to 1, all the way down to 4 bar following distance. Around here, I generally do a 2, and that feels pretty comfortable to me. Same thing out on the freeway, I'll adjust, but 2 is where I feel the most comfortable. But I think that's pretty good for this segment. Just showing you, it does work on non-BlueCruise roads. We're coming to another stop. But you just have to have your hands on the steering wheel. Supposedly all times. I believe it's about only like 5 or 6 seconds that you can take your hands off. We don't need to test that. Just keep your hand on the steering wheel and you're good to go. Again, slowing down, speed limit's 55. It slowed us down to 28. Now we're slowly taking back off. See if it cancels through this intersection. Nope, good to go. So multiple intersections. Oh, and it just popped up. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. So I just gave it a little bit of a wiggle, and that's all it needed. I'm going to keep my hand not on it, but just sort of like barely touching it, so it's not going to be able to sense the torque. And we'll show you what it does if I don't put my hands on it. It says keep hands on steering wheel. And then you hear that noise. It went red. It was orange. It went red. And I just wiggled the steering wheel. And then now we're good to go. All right, next segment. Okay, now we have intelligent cruise control on this 2-lane road. It will slow down for sharper curves. But on sharper curves, I want to turn it off completely anyways because I want to go have fun with the car. But yeah, this is perfect example. BlueCruise, like the hands-on version, intelligent cruise control with lane centering, working perfectly fine on this type of road. You do have to keep your hands on, which I think is probably a good idea with so many things that can go wrong on this type of road. So just wanted to demo that real quick. It will slow down for sharper curves. I saw it happen, but I didn't get it on camera. But we'll explore that in a longer video at some point. So anyways, just wanted to show that. And I said we'll just do that in the next segment, but I'm just getting some more footage because I just think it's neat that it works on this type of road. Although, like, personally, I never turn it on this type of road. I'd rather just drive and enjoy it, accelerate, decelerate, and have some fun. But you can use it. It can be used on pretty much any road where it can detect lane markings. There's a truck pulling out in front, so this will be interesting. And I think they're getting up to speed quick enough. So anyways.
But this is a very curvy road, and I wonder, does it just feel nice to have it on as like a little extra reassurance?
Not really. Not for me personally. Like, I'd rather just drive and enjoy it.
You like driving and you like whipping it a little on curvy roads like this, huh?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is like I like to vary my speed a lot on these type of roads, and like I said, it will slow down, for the sharper curves, but I'm like, I'd rather, like, I want to, yeah, it's just not what I would necessarily do driving as a human. But if I was just wanting a relaxing drive, this is probably pretty good. And then maybe something like this, where we're following a truck, it is a little bit comforting knowing that it's watching that truck and making sure that we're keeping a proper distance without me having to worry about it. But it's doing all the steering. I just have my hand on it just to make sure, you know, well, it has to detect it. It's requiring it. But we're going through these intersections, went through the curves, lane opening up quite a bit here. Did not dart to one side or the other. So call this a success. We're about ready to get to US 76 again, or California 76, sorry. So let's just move on, I think. So how are you enjoying it? Like, are you pleased?
This is awesome. It's been a long time coming. We've had tantalizing teasers of 1.2. We've had tantalizing teasers of being able to try this back in Detroit. So the fact that this is in our car is so awesome. And the fact that it's coming to your car pretty soon, we can only assume, is extra awesome too. I'm just delighted.
I'm really excited. We are starting a basically 2,300 mile road trip on July 4th. And I was sort of hoping we would get it before then. And I was joking. I was like, I bet we get it the day we get back. But we have it now. We got to test it out. And then we're going to really test it out on that long road trip. Lots of freeway driving. So it should make it even better. And just way more comfortable. And I think that's the most exciting thing. I've been frustrated that it's taking so long to go from 1.0 to 1.3 via the over-the-air update. I know you're frustrated as well, but it looks like it's coming soon. Whatever reason that they held up the update, I think has been resolved as far as I know. So hopefully it isn't like you got to wait months. Hopefully this will be like the start of a process, and over the next month and a half, maybe everybody will get it. I have no insight into that. If I find out any info, we'll update on social media, which, by the way, follow us on social media. We'll be doing updates on BlueCruise and our road trip and charging and the supercharger network. But this just makes way more comfortable driving.
So if you do get BlueCruise 1.3, we do want to hear about your experiences. So share down below, share all around, because it's really exciting, and Ford is definitely listening to people and listening to what they want from their vehicles. So this was really cool. Like, this first drive with BlueCruise 1.3, like putting it through a bunch of different situations, seemed like really good. A lot,
yep.
Like noticeably better.
And I did a lane change because this guy is. There we go. That was really good.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the like off shoulder area and decided to come in, and I wanted to get around him, but there was somebody in my way. The car waited, and the reason why, going back to the road trip, that I think this is going to be so nice is that on a lot of stretches of like I-70, I-15. We're going to be on I-40. It's 2 lanes in each direction. So I generally try to stay in the right lane. I don't like camping out in the left lane. But what it means is that like all of those on-ramps and off-ramps, with 1.0, it would cancel a lot of times. And it would still have the hands-on portion, but it would be like, put your hands on. So like every couple of miles, it's like, put your hands on. And now it looks like I can stay in the right lane, set the cruise control or BlueCruise, just let it do its thing, and not have to worry about it canceling or swerving over or anything like that. It's just way smoother. And then, of course, the lane changes are going to help, as well as scooching over for those big trucks.
Love the scooch. I really love the scooch. And we had a lot of cool opportunities to test it in this video, like lane change and then immediately scooch. So like lane change around a slow truck and then immediately scooch over. That's so cool, and it's so human. And there were definitely multiple occasions where it felt human. Like it drove the way a person drives.
And the official name is in-lane repositioning.
So say scooch.
It scooches over. And we know this is just like a very intro video to BlueCruise 1.3. It's under like perfect conditions. There's not a cloud in the sky. The sun's up high. We will try to do a more in-depth video like we did with previous BlueCruise videos that we've done. So we'll try to test it in traffic, in rain, when the sun's high, when the sun's low, those type of different conditions. Of course, at night is another big one. So we'll test it in all of those in another video. Stay tuned for those. If you want us to test anything specific, like let us know now, and then we'll include that in to our list. But yeah, we're super happy. Can't wait to hit the road. We hope you will follow along on Twitter/X/Threads/Instagram/Facebook.
But we're on the precipice of this big road trip. Couldn't be a better time to jump in with BlueCruise 1.3. Of course, we're also going to be naxing this road trip, so if you're interested in that stuff, then stay tuned. Just naxing. Yeah.
Supercharging.
Naxing. Supercharging.
Yeah.
We'll be supercharging. Or naxing. We're going to have snacks. Anyways, so we're going to be testing BlueCruise 1.3. We're going to be using NAX, supercharging. So we're going to have lots of different terrains and different opportunities to experience different things. So do be sure, like Patrick said, to mention, comment if you're interested in anything, whatever, because this is a cool opportunity for us. I was already thinking like Colorado hails a lot, so hopefully we don't have to experience hail and BlueCruise and the car.
We're going to protect the car if we can.
And we'll like lie on top of the car to protect ourselves. But is there anything else that you want to share about this exciting experience, or?
No, I think we're good. We're going to wrap this up. We're actually heading away from the house in a direction we don't need to go in, just because we needed to finish this up. So let's wrap this up. I thought my microphone buzzed that it was stopped or something, but I think we're good. I think it's just time to say adios and I don't know.
And continue on the road. So huge thank you to our patrons for supporting this channel. We appreciate you guys so very, very much. Their names are scrolling across the screen right now. A huge thank you to our YouTube members. They have little lightning bolts next to their names. They get cool things like fancy pony emojis and things like that. We're always open to new emoji suggestions, so let us know. And on that note, just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's with your hands or whether you can jazz hands, enjoy the ride. Bye.